Are there any announcements that need to be made? No? You? Oh. I thought you had an announcement. Oh, that's no problem. Okay, I think John's going to lead us in a prayer before we start. And
let's pray together. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you. Thank you for this day that you've given us, that we can get up out of our beds, share another day. We ask, Father, that bless us in this day, especially, Father, bless us in this morning when we come to gather together to share and worship to you and learn what you would have us to know and just fellowship and love one another. This time, Father, we just ask a blessing on Brian this morning, his client. Pray, Father, he'll have a ready recollection. Pray, Father, we'll interact with him and we have a good class. Just give him courage and give us grace. Ask, Father, that you be with us. Bless us. Forgive us, Father, when we fail. Just pray these things in Christ's name.
appreciate that prayer. And I need the ready recollection because my memory's terrible. But I try to take in a lot of stuff, so I know I'll forget about 90% of it. Can y'all hear me all right? Okay. And okay, we're going to go to Luke 9. And I don't know, can you put that up on the screen? Maybe like 1 through 6 or something? Mike, is that possible? I don't know. He's just looking at me. Huh? No. Do you have to have slides? I have no idea how that works. Gotta have slides? Wow. I figured you could put a Bible verse up, but I'm not a tech guy. Okay. We're going to go to Luke 9. Luke 9 is actually a pretty long chapter. It's one of the longer chapters in the New Testament. So I've got notes to 27, Luke 9:27, and hopefully we'll get there today. If we get past there, I really don't know what we're going to do. May have to tell jokes or something, but just talk about it, or may have to tell stories. And I was thinking this morning that I don't know how many of y'all remember Jerry Clower. And we used to have these great storytellers, and Paul Harvey, and if you go back, Mark Twain. And I can't think of any of these days. And so I don't know what's happened to him. Seems like we don't really have great storytellers or great statesmen anymore. But maybe it's just because I'm out of it, because I don't keep up with stuff that good. Kind of a light crowd in here today. Maybe they heard I was going to be here. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, we're going to read Luke 9, 1 through 6 to get started here. And then if somebody could read Matthew 5 and 6. If somebody could do that, just hold up your hand so we'll know who's doing it. Matthew 10, 5 and 6, I'm sorry. Matthew chapter 10, 5 and 6. Mike, or Greg, I'm sorry. And then somebody, Matthew 15, 24. Somebody could read that here in a minute. Or you want to do them both? You got them both? 5 and 6, okay. So could somebody do 15? Matthew 15, 24. Okay, then first we're going to read 9, 1 through 6. Sending out the 12. Then he called his 12 disciples together and gave them power and authority over all the demons to cure diseases. He sent them to preach the kingdom of God and to heal the sick. He said to them, take nothing for the journey, neither staffs, nor bag, nor bread, nor money, and do not have two tunics apiece. Whatever house you enter, stay there, and from there depart. Whoever will not receive you when you go out of that city, shake off the very dust from your feet as a testimony against them. So they departed and went through the towns, preaching the gospel and healing everywhere. And okay, if you could read Matthew 10:5 and 6.
12, he put them out and commanded them, saying, do not go into the way of the Gentiles, and do not enter a city of the Samaritans, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Okay, and then Bob, if you could read 15:24.
And he answered, I will send only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Okay, and then why do you think they started with Israel, or why that instead of just going straight to the Gentiles? I wonder. Has anybody got an opinion on that, or?
Maybe they wanted them to say,
And they would have understood that, wouldn't they? Huh?
you would hope.
Yeah, we would. Some of them would.
That was also the group of people that the promise was made to.
Right, right.
All of the prophecies being fulfilled before the Jews, because they were the ones the prophecies were made to and about. There were some, they alluded to the Gentiles in some places, but as far as the prophecies made about who was coming and when, what was going to happen and where, all that was made to the Jewish people. So
Right.
it just
Makes sense.
sense.
Right, and they would have knew the scriptures, and they would have known of the prophesying of the coming of the Messiah. And they were God's chosen people.
House, though, you do things in order. You know, you start with the bottom and you get your good base foundation.
Right.
From the Jews, then they have foundation spread out. Because Jews were everywhere, so once you convert them, then you'd have a good starting place for the Gentiles out there. As much as a plan to make things go, just have to go everywhere all at once.
Right, and they were the chosen people of God, and we think of sometimes the Jews that resisting, but a lot of them ended up being believers too. So a lot of them were, and the 12 apostles were Jews. So they were kind of the foundation of the early church. Okay. Let's see here. Trying to read my notes. Why, what would be the advantage of sending them out by twos?
You always have a witness.
Right.
You always have somebody to support you. You don't think it's on somebody, you know, the next guy will tell. A lot of advantages to have.
Maybe safety.
Right, be a safety thing. Because they might not have always been real welcome everywhere they went. Went.
Oh, witness anything, witness,
Right.
good witness Christ, not second witness.
Yeah, that's a good point. And would somebody want to read? I'm going to get y'all to help me quite a bit this morning, since I ain't done this before. Would somebody read Ecclesiastes 4, 9, and 12? Somebody just raise your hand if you can do that. And then if somebody else could read Proverbs 27, 17.
What was Ecclesiastes?
Chapter 4, verse 9 through 12. Okay. John's got that. And then Proverbs 27, 17. If somebody could get that. You got it, Bobby? Okay. Okay, go ahead if you got it.
Ecclesiastes chapter 5,
Chapter 4, 9 through 12.
9 through
12.
20. Two are better than one, because they are a good reward for their labor. If they fall, the one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him. Again, if two lie together, then they have heat, but how can one stay warm alone? If one prevail against him, two shall withstand him. The threefold cord is not quickly broken.
Okay, then Bobby, if you could do Proverbs 27:17.
Okay, it says iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another.
There. And I always think of that two are better than one a lot because there's a safety factor. Even if you're out working alone or something, if something happens, if you're by yourself, you're liable to get in a lot more trouble. Nobody to help you. Although we got phones these days, so that makes a lot of difference. Okay. And they travel light. Why do you suppose he instruct them to travel light? Dependence, right? Great. Kind of like a test of faith. And then also, they were instructed to stay with local people. So what would be the advantages to that? Would there be any advantages to that? What's that? I'm sorry, Jeff. Right. You can't really fake it when you're staying with somebody, just for a little while. Okay.
Back in that time, they all talk. So, stay with, these people and these, that's like, yes, they stay with us and you get your reputation.
Oh, they talked. Yep. They didn't scroll or watch TV.
Right.
They talked.
Exactly.
Or listen to the radio.
Well, they contact.
They what?
They could give them contact.
Contact, right, in the community, local. Hi, Karen. Right,
That was something both parties. You showed up at my house, I took care of you for a certain amount of time. We were both participating in, meal meetings.
do we have any charges like that today in the church, that we take care of each other? What about widows? Are we charged to look out for the widows? And,
I also think that anytime that, like, you went to a new place, we all know that once you become a Christian, that you're different.
right,
If I go and stay with somebody one night and another person another night, they're gonna say, oh, he's a good guy, good. If you go and stay with somebody for 4 or 5 days, and they see that you're a good Christian person,
right,
they're gonna be convicted, to spread that word like she said, that they're gonna talk to their friends and say,
yeah,
man, they've got something going here.
right. It's kind of
Give it more credibility.
hard to be fake for 4 or 5 days, ain't it? Right,
It also points to the fact that they were welcome. Because you look on down farther and it says, whoever won't receive you, kick the dust off and be gone from there. So you would know at least there was no, danger or animosity or something that you had to look out for.
Right.
If someone welcomed into your home, even though that it was, I don't know if it was the law, but it was the custom, that you would go to the city center, or the town center, and that's where you could find lodging with the family that would take you in. That was something that they would have needed. They didn't take any food, didn't take any money, didn't take any clothes. So that would be God providing for them
through other people.
through other people
Right.
that wasn't hostile. Because you would know someone hostile is not gonna invite you into their home.
Right,
And, the shaking the dust off the feet, that was actually a Jewish thing. I didn't, as I was studying, I didn't realize that was a Jewish thing. Like, if they went to the Gentile part of the world at the time, when they came back to whatever Jewish land, they would actually shake the dust off their feet to sort of cleanse themselves from the uncleanness, I guess, of the place they went. And so that would have been a sign that the place that didn't welcome them was unclean. And they weren't bringing a message that was welcome, because they were bringing a message that was contrary to what the Jewish
Right.
religion said.
Right.
They were actually bringing information and bringing a message that was fulfilling what they believed. They were just having a hard time believing that that was the case.
It's a new thing.
Yeah, it was,
It could be a dangerous thing.
it could be very dangerous.
Right. Does God still work like that today, that he works through people to supply our needs, to help us?
I would say yes.
Right.
Can I give you an example? No, because I don't know that we know that happened.
Not always, do we?
No.
I guess that's faith. And,
We're not charged to know how God does it. We're just charged to know that God does it.
right.
So we can, it's easier as obviously as you get older, you can look back on your life
You can, yeah.
and see where you were blessed, or you were
Mhm.
protected, or you were in some way, God was with you. Those are the things that God likes to
Right.
see later.
And sometimes we can see where prayers were answered, maybe not in a way we thought they would be answered, but maybe in a better way,
Should have been.
because we just didn't understand. And we still don't understand a lot. And then,
It's good that we do, that we can see our missionaries, that we help, and, you know, families that we help.
right.
Love God.
Right. What about just strangers, somebody? That's what we're instructed to do, really, ain't it? And it teaches that we're going to have rejection sometimes too. And could somebody read John 7, 3 through 5?
After these things, Jesus walked in Galilee, for not walked in Jewry, because the Jews sought to kill him. The Jews feast of tabernacle, and brethren therefore said to him, Depart, go into Judea, disciples may also see the work that you do. For there's no man that does things in secret, and he himself seeks to be known openly. Now do these things, show yourself to the world. How far do you want to go?
To his brothers, a little further, I think.
For neither did his brethren believe in him. Jesus said unto them, My time is not come.
Right.
Time is always with me.
So his own brothers really didn't believe him at that point. Okay, let's go to Luke 9, 7 through 9. Now Herod the Tetrarch heard of all that was done by him, and he was perplexed, because it was said by some that John had risen from the dead, and some that Elijah had appeared, and others that one of the old prophets had risen again. And Herod said, John I have beheaded, but who is this, whom I hear of such things? And he sought to see him. And, okay. Trying to find my verse here. I can't find it. I must have forgot to write it down. Why do you suppose Herod wanted to see Jesus? You think it was his motives were pure, that wanted to get rid of him? Yeah, that's part of it. That's a good point. You think he thought it might be some kind of entertainment, or he might see a miracle or something too, because he probably heard rumors of that.
We can go over to 23:8, that's probably scripture.
Yeah, 23:8-11. Can you read that?
And when Herod saw Jesus, he was exceeding glad, for he was desirous to see him of a long season, because he had heard many things of him, and hoped to have seen some miracle done by him. He questioned with him in many words, but he answered him nothing. Chief priests and scribes stood and him accused him. Herod with his men of war set him that God and mocked him and raised him from books of old, saying goodbye. So, that tells us why Herod wanted to see him. He wanted to see miracles,
Right.
but he was afraid that John had come back to life. That was one of those, he did the deed, but I don't know how much, well, he was coerced into, he didn't have a hatred for John
Yeah, right.
to death.
Yeah, that was
He was mad at him for
right.
telling him the truth. But,
He had a little Jezebel for a wife and an Athaliah for a daughter-in-law or whatever. So, we see, do you think Herod would have been probably disappointed because Jesus was silent? Would there be a time to be silent instead of speaking up? Like if someone was just being mocking or insincere, or, you couldn't reason with the person? And were there other times when Jesus was silent?
you find him silent a lot.
Right.
Even when he's talking, he was silent, because he would, tell parables and not tell what the
Right.
parable was about. That's just like saying nothing at all.
It's kind of a test, wasn't it? Because you'd have to think.
And you have to draw your own conclusion,
Right.
and it would make you, as an accuser, it would make you, confused about why he was silent. There would be a lot of that. You accuse somebody and they don't defend themselves, that's not a natural
No.
response.
And we see with Pilate, he did that too for a time, and it really made Pilate think, didn't it? Like made him really think about what was going on there, and he didn't really want to do that either. He was kind of coerced.
I think it's a good example for us. Sometimes no matter what you're gonna say, it's not going to change it. So
Right.
you need to not even what, because you said
Right.
as much as you can say,
Right.
and then you gotta let God do the rest.
And sometimes we can just over argue something it almost has a reverse effect if you argue too much. And and then Caiaphas, that's Matthew 26, 62 and 63. I don't know if I pronounced it right. Caiaphas. Jesus was silent there too. Somebody want to read that? Matthew 26, 62 and 63. Just raise up your hand, then we won't have 2 or 3 people. I'll try to watch. It's Matthew 27. No, I'm sorry, 26, 62 and 63. You got it? Okay, Mike's got it. Sorry. That's far enough. So he did keep silence to a point. So, okay, let's go to 9, 10 through 17. Right. Okay.
So far, he sent out 12, and Lucas talked about how he sent out 12, and all the other gospels talk about the same thing, and then all of a sudden he jumps to Herod.
Right.
Why would he go from that to feeding the 5,000? I've always questioned, why did Luke put that part in between? What is the significance that we like to read of him putting it, because it talks about him. Now, up to this point, it says right here, he says he's killed John, or he beheaded John the Baptist. So I think he either, like we kind of brought up, he's kind of felt some guilt from that, but why do we think that Luke might have put this part about Herod in there?
Right in
It
this.
kind of seemed out of place to me. I mean, it's just,
Mhm.
I'm reading through here, all of a sudden, it's like, where'd that kind of come from?
Yeah, you kind of see that.
Have any ideas on that? Why would Luke have put that in this part of the writing?
Right. I don't really have an answer for that, but I don't know if this is chronological or in order or not.
Well, somebody a lot smarter than me, because I've always kind of looked at it as setting the tone, because we're gonna be getting over here to Jesus is called the Messiah.
Right.
What, is this not setting the stage, kind of like the buildup?
Oh, you talking about Peter's confession?
Peter confessed, yeah.
Yeah, and we're gonna.
It's almost like Luke is putting in here, and there's the reason he's putting it in here almost is that one, Herod's gonna play a big part down the road, and two, it's building up to Peter's confession.
Right.
I wanted to know if anybody else had any other thoughts around this.
But it just seems like it's just, an explanation of how people were thinking of who Christ was. You know, they didn't have a solid ground to stand, you know, it would make sense to them that it was the Lord. It would make sense to them if it was John the Baptist reincarnate. It would make sense to them, you know, it doesn't make sense to them that this is the Son of God, but all of those other things, it seems that it does make sense to them. And it gets as far as Herod. And so that explains, it tells us that that's why it's spread. You know, it gets back to Herod from this
Very top.
yeah, from the bottom all the way to
So you
the
know
top.
the bottom massacre.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And so, I think it's just, this is the community that the disciples were going into, that they were sent out to. And, this is I'm sure the people were saying the same thing, so this is what they're having to overcome. Probably the stories they're having to overcome during their time out being sent out. So I think it just gives us a picture of what the community looked like that they were going into.
Well, Jesus knew the plan. He knew what was coming. And so he may have gone to Herod, not to see Herod, but to actually see Caiaphas. Because Caiaphas is the one who played a big role in him being crucified and the other one being let go.
Okay, let's go to Luke 9:10 through 17. Is there anybody that wants to read that? Otherwise, I'll read it. Not really? Okay. And the apostles, when they had returned, told him all that they had done. He took them and went aside privately into a deserted place belonging to the city called Bethsaida. When the multitude knew it, they followed him. He received them and spoke to them about the kingdom of God, and healed those who had a need of healing. When the day began to wear away, the 12 came and said to him, Send the multitude away, that they may go into the surrounding towns and country, and lodge and get provisions, for we are in a deserted place. But he said to them, You give them something to eat. And they said, We have no more than 5 loaves and 2 fish, unless we go and buy food for all these people. For there were about 5,000 men. Then he said to his disciples, Make them sit down in groups of 50. And so they did. And they made them all sit down. Then he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he blessed and broke them and gave them to the disciples to set before the multitude. So they all ate and were filled, and 12 baskets of the leftover fragments were taken up by them. Does anybody have any comments on that before? Could somebody read? Okay, go ahead.
First off, Bethsaida is where Peter, John, James, and Andrew were.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And is that a Gentile or a Jewish community?
Do you know? Oh, well, I told you I had a bad memory.
I said, I'm not teaching, but I can't,
So
I
you-
gotta help the teacher.
You're not gonna tell us. Okay.
Was it a Gentile or Jewish community there decided? It would have been on the northeast side of the Sea of Galilee.
Right. I don't know.
Because that, so we've had two instances, do we not, of the feeding of the multitude.
Right.
One of them was for Gentiles, or had Gentiles included,
Mhm.
one was strictly Jewish.
Mm-hmm. Which one is this? You don't know. Okay.
Tell me.
I'll ask AI when I get home. It'll know, I guarantee you.
It will.
Yeah,
Some-
it knows the facts. I'll give it that.
Something to think about, because it does make a difference on
Right,
the Jewish and the Gentile.
right. And, let me find that verse. Yeah, could somebody read, Acts 13:46? Speaking of the turning to the Gentiles. Somebody wouldn't mind reading that. Actually about Paul.
13.
Acts, where'd it go now? 13:46. Okay, and you see where they didn't just throw the food out there. They made them to sit down in groups of 50, so they had some organization to that. And you see these videos sometimes of people in church, and they're just all, I guess they're Pentecostals. They're all going crazy and running over the tops of the pews and everything, and falling down. And I always think of this verse: where's the decently and in order to this? Doesn't seem like it's there, really, does it? What's that, Jeff? Oh yeah, that's right. So you wouldn't miss anybody. So it's somewhat organized. Okay, and then could somebody read 2 Corinthians 8-12? Just read it real loud and clear. 2 Corinthians 8-12. I'm sorry. Yeah, 2 Corinthians, I think it's 8:12. I'm sorry. Try that. See if that works. Can't read my own writing.
Or if the readiness is there, it is acceptable according to what the person has, not according to what he does not have.
Right. So they didn't start with much, did they? But it turned out to be enough.
Turned out to be more than
Right. They had left over.
Look at that. Compare that with Moses in the wilderness. God provided only what they needed,
Right.
exactly what they needed, no more. If they decided to keep some back, it would rot and turn into maggots.
The
And whatever else is part of the manna.
the manna, right.
And so here, maybe a stretch, but you see that Jesus is greater than Moses, because
Right.
there's more than an abundance. You've got at least 100 groups of 50 people. They gather up 12 baskets. Of course, 12 is always symbolic,
Right.
but 12, and I don't know how big a basket is. Really maybe big, I don't know. More than enough. They provided more than what they need. I think that's an unusual situation.
Okay, and then right, nothing was wasted, and they gathered up So their blessings were more than what they needed, not just enough. Could somebody read Proverbs 24:30 through 34? This is another verse that don't fit perfect, but I seen it and I just liked it so well. I think it'd be good to read it. Proverbs 24:30 through 34.
I passed by the field of the sluggard, by the vineyard of the man lacking sin. Behold, it was all overgrown with thorns, and the ground was covered with needles, and its stone wall was broken down. Then I saw and considered it. I looked and received instruction. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the camps to rest. And poverty will come upon you like a robber, and want like an armed man.
Okay. So that nothing was wasted, and that verse don't fit real good, but I looked it up and it's a good verse to quote, I think. Something to think about, because,
Well, that just answers to the ones that wanted something for nothing.
right,
The only reason they were following Jesus was for what they could get, not for what they could receive.
Right.
The word and the good news of the kingdom is what they could receive.
right.
But what they got was.
Yeah. And it might have even had a little entertainment value, see
All that was going on.
a leper cleansed or whatever. That'd be a pretty big deal. Wow, it's already 10:10. Okay. Okay, and then could somebody read Psalms 37:4? It's a pretty short verse. Psalms 37:4.
Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give you the desires of thy heart.
So if you delight yourself in the Lord, what would be the desires of your heart? Would it be a 10,000 square foot house, or a man cave with a Hemi Roadrunner in it, or
You're delighting in the ways of the Lord, things of the Lord, then your desires of your heart can't be different.
right? Could it be like understanding or knowledge or that kind of stuff instead of material things? Wow, I can't believe it's already after 10. Okay. Right. Okay. Luke 9. I gotta get back to Luke. Luke 9:18 through 20. Oh, this is kind of a big one. Well, we don't have much. We may run out of time on it. That's all right. And it happened, he was alone praying, that his disciples joined him. And he asked them, saying, who do the crowd say that I am? So they answered and said, John the Baptist. Some say Elijah. Others say one of the old prophets has risen again. But he said to them, who do you say that I am? Peter answered and said, the Christ of God. And somebody would read the cross reference to that. It's Matthew 16 through 19. Matthew 16 through 19. Should be it.
Said to them, but who do you say that I am? Simon Peter answered and said, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God.
Did you go 16 through 19?
Jesus answered and said to him, blessed are you, Simon Barjona. Flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. I also say that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and on the gates of Hades shall not prevail against it.
Right.
And I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven.
Okay, good. Yeah, and I think most people probably know this in the church, but this is a pretty big statement, and the way Catholics view it, and evangelicals and us and most of the rest of religious people view it as different. Catholics view it as Peter is a rock upon which Christ built his church. Peter was the first pope. Which I don't know how they come up with that. But that's what they view it. But others view the statement as, you are the Christ, the Son of God. And that statement is the rock upon which Christ builds his church. I should say Roman Catholics, not Catholics. So that's like a huge deal that we need to understand. Because that's where they're claiming they get the lineage for or succession for the Pope is through Peter. And the thing about Catholic too, Catholic with a lowercase c, it's a word that was around and used by the church before the Roman Catholics and the Pope and all that. And if you go in a Lutheran church, they do a lot of recitals, and they might do a recital pledging loyalty to the Catholic Church, and you think, what is going on here? Well, that's not the Roman Catholic Church. It's just Catholic is a word that means universal, general, or all-inclusive. So that was around before the Roman Catholic was around. So I think that's kind of interesting. A lot of people don't realize that, I guess, or some people don't realize it. I didn't realize it till a while back. I was studying it. But Catholic is just a word. You can look it up in an old dictionary. If it's not Roman Catholic, it just means universal, general, all-inclusive. And it's in very old church writings. You'll say Catholic, they're just talking about the whole church. It's nothing to do with Roman Catholic or the Pope or any of that. But I think now we just think of Catholic as Roman Catholic. We don't really use it in the other way. What time are we supposed to quit? Really? Wow. Good. Yeah. I'm glad. I mean, it's fun, but I don't know. I do a little better prepared.